Well, hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. Boy, and water it is. All that rain we've got, and I showed y'all a short earlier about it, and I didn't think I was going to be able to finish cutting grass. Now, I didn't get 100% of it, but I got 90 plus, so it's soaking wet out here. There's puddles everywhere I just cut anyway. It's been a month since I was able to cut, and well, it was time for me to cut when all the rain moved in, and we've had a lot of rain in the last 2 weeks, making it hard for me to get out there and cut. So I went ahead and finished today because the forecast for this week's not that great either as far as getting enough dry time to when I'm home to be able to cut. So let me show y'all this starter tray that we've been experimenting with. Flip this around. All right, so we've got the Miracle-Gro soil on the right. I've got 2 that came up out of the 6 cups, and I've got the main organic all-natural soil on the left, and I've got 3 that came up over here. And look, it's starting to get little mildew or whatever on top. I think it's too wet, and that's part of why I've left the top off for the last few days, because it's just too much moisture in our air and too much rain. Although they're not getting any rain, the moisture is extremely high. So, and this is the one that we did a couple weeks before, and I've already planted a few out of here. But I planted a soybean. I've got a pepper that needs planting, basil, Japanese eggplant, and a sugar pea. I'm probably going to throw the sugar pea out. I'm not going to plant any more of those. But comparing the soils, the organic versus the Miracle-Gro, organic has done better, but it does look a little bit moldy or whatever on top, and I don't know what to think about that. So it's worked. I got at least 50% germinated out of it anyway. All right, I'm gonna turn around and show y'all the garden. Now, I have not planted anything else other than that soybean that I can remember, but I'm gonna show y'all. All the new grow bags are still empty. I haven't planted anything in them. Look how good the tomatoes look. I mean, they are. I got some weeds I need to pull out of the bottom of that bag, and that's because that's my compost, from here. So, matter of fact, it's got a few little blooms starting on it right there, even though it's a small plant. But they are looking much, much better considering they didn't do anything for a couple months. And this one has actually reached over the top of the tomato cage. Looks really good. It's got a little bloom trying to come out right there. So, and then of course this one's still stunted. This one did grow a little bit, but it's still not taken off. All right, that little stub in there. If it's still there, I'm not sure. I don't see it. Let's see, maybe it was a different bag. No, it was that bag. This one's still about 1.5 inches tall. Nothing in this grow bag. This one's looks poorly to me, but it's getting better. It's just not taking off yet. And then this one here, and then what used to be the smallest one, it's got blooms on it, actual blooms on it. But let's see if I can get around here where y'all can see that. It's got actual bloom on it. So these plants are old enough to be producing tomatoes, but they just never grew. I need to get these weeds pulled right here. I pulled a bunch from the other areas, but I just didn't get to this. And y'all know I pulled all those sugar peas and threw them plants out in the yard, and I mulched them up today when I cut. I'm probably gonna pull the rest of these. It just ain't worth the effort you have to put into those things. It'd take a dozen plants or more to make a meal for a small family. All right, now this is the Japanese cucumber that we started in the seed cups, and I moved the seed cups into these grow bed. And this is the Japanese cucumber. They seem to be doing pretty good. I think they'll be taking off if we can get some good sunshine. And let me go to the other side of the trellis. Now, I did put the net over these to get it to start going up the the net, but it is attaching on all by itself, just like this one has. It wrapped around all by itself, so it's going to grow up that net. They are doing really well. That's pole beans on this side. So the zucchini are still producing. I think I'll show the basket in a little while. I pulled several today. The vine borers have gotten into the plants, so that's going to damage the plants and the output and all that. And eventually what I've had happen in the past is they'll start digging into the actual fruit, and then you won't be able to get anything, and I'll pull the entire plant at that point. So I've got a little bit of a sprinkling rain going on now, guys, so I may have to run for shelter if it kicks in. But the plants still look good even though the vine borers are in them, and they're still producing pretty decent. I'm still getting a basket full just about every day. At least a basket and a half every couple of days. So there's a lot of them still in there. And like I say, I've already picked today. There's a bunch of them up under that there. So there's still a few more to go. So one more bed to show y'all. This is where the onions were. And you see those weeds just pop up. But that's the soybean that I planted over here. And if you notice, I put a pole on it, one of those 6-foot poles, and that's about probably 5 foot high. So I drove it in pretty good. And when that thing gets up, if it needs something to grab onto, it's going to have a pole there to do it. And I've got some clips that I'll probably use if I need to attach it to it. I just don't know enough about soybeans. That's all the cups from the first tray that never did anything. So this is 4 squash that I planted in seed in here. 2 sprouted in each spot, and I separated them and put 2 on the other side. So there's 4 here. And I put poles beside them. I'm going to try to train these to grow up those poles instead of bushing out. I want them to grow up. And this is 3 zucchinis that came up from 2 spots that I planted. So I separated it into 3 and put a pole beside them. And these, again, these are 6-foot poles. And I've driven them down to about 5 feet. So they'll be strong enough to hold the plant up when it starts needing support. And I'm going to, attach the plant to the pole. And I think they're going to do good that way. From what I've read and other videos that I've watched, that's going to help reduce the pest pressure because it won't be laying on the ground. You see, there's still a lot of blooms in this squash plant. And there's a few over there. And a few more. It's hard for y'all to see with all the leaves, but you can see the yellow in there. That's the blooms from the squashes. They're still producing. So I'm very pleased with the garden this year. I have not started canning myself, which I do plan on doing it eventually. My middle daughter said she was going to, so I sent everything home with her, and she still hadn't started, so I may have to get with her and get it all back and teach myself how to can. But I'm going to pull that bed right there with the sugar snap peas in it, or early peas, and we're going to plant some stuff in that bed that we're trying to grow in the seed trays. And then we're going to fill up all the grow bags, not fill them up, but we're going to fill them with good soil and transplant and put a plant of pepper and tomatoes and all that in those grow bags. So I've still got time, I think. The worst 2 months in Southwest Georgia are July and August. So we are fixing to be beginning of June. So if I can get the plants to grow in the next month to month and a half before it just burns everything up out here, we should be able to still grow some stuff. And that's what I'm going to try to do. So let's walk over here. Hey, so I've noticed when I flip the camera around, sometimes y'all don't get the audio from when I'm talking. So I'm trying to teach myself to stop talking. Yeah, I got my old lawn cutting hat on while I'm flipping the camera. But only 10 minutes so far, right at 10. But this is what I harvested today from the garden. So looks like there's 4 squash and 2 good sized zucchini. and there's a lot more of each still on those plants. So all the chickens are doing well. I did give them scratch earlier. This rain, y'all, I've did some shorts showing it come in the driveway up there. I'm going to have to call the county and tell them to do something, because it used to drain off on the other side of the road, because that's where it starts puddling. It drained off into the woods over there, and nobody's over there. But the dude that has been grading the road has just been leaving the dirt piled up there, and it's holding the water back from draining until the road's completely covered with water, and it starts coming down in my yard, washing everybody's drink cans and bottles and junk into my yard that I got to go pick up, and the road's flooded, which is partially good because it slows the traffic down sometimes. But some of these young kids are flying through there, and I'm just waiting for them to pay the price for doing that. And I'm not calling nobody, that's on them. But all right, so the baby chicks have actually started running to the front of the pen when I come out like all the adults do. So I'm pleased with that. The other 6 that are inside are doing really, really well. See the little barnyard mix hens coming. And she's been laying good, y'all. She's been laying 4 to 5 eggs a week, and she went a couple months without laying, so maybe she's as good as she's gonna get. But I don't want to add more adults in there with those what fixing to be teenage chickens, because I've got those other 6 babies that are going to come out, and I candled the eggs in the incubator yesterday, and from what I could tell, some of them are really hard to tell. They may be 12 fertile eggs in it this time. So I don't know. We'll find out. It's hard to tell with these colored eggs. But y'all, look at this rain gauge. It's 3 inches on the rain gauge. Right there at the 3-inch mark. And remember, it hadn't been but about 4 or 5 days ago I showed y'all we got 3 1/4 plus inches. And I've gotten an 1/8 a couple of times in between those 2 big rains. So I just dumped it. Show y'all it's empty now. I've had 6.5 plus inches of rain within the last 1.5 to 2 weeks. I don't remember us getting that much rain in that short amount of time. But and I've been here almost 15 years. My sister's been across the road for probably 25, 30 years. Whew. It's coming down out of that dirt road so hard that it's actually running down the side of the property. Let me flip it around, see if it runs down the side. It comes in the drive and runs across towards Sparky's house and behind the pump house, and you can see the dirt trail there. That's where the water comes, and it runs down this way and floods these chicken pens to where the water actually gets into the pens. And I hardly ever have damp soil inside the pen, but it's done it. The chickens have gotten up on the roost because there's just so much water coming through in that hard rain. And when I move the chicken pens back behind where the raised bed garden is, when I build the new ones, I'm not going to have that issue, because the drainage ditch that used to run across my property, well, it still does. It starts on this end, so there's really nothing here but a little bit of a low spot for the first 50 yards on this left side of the property. But as it goes across that way toward where the range is, it was about 8 foot deep at the range. I cut down big oak trees and cut logs into 25-foot sections and laid them across that ditch, and then covered it with tarps and then put dirt on top and built my own little bridge, and it's worked good for 10 years. So those oak trees should be there a while, and I've since filled in both edges of it so the water finds its way through. But eventually I'm probably gonna have to do something else to it. But as you see, they're all out here, or most of them, and they want me to throw them some more corn, and I think I'm going to. I'm not even going to bother collecting eggs today. The eggs I'm collecting are just so dirty from their feet being muddy. It's just a pain in the butt. Why walk in the mud in there hopefully we won't get enough rain to make it muddy again tomorrow, and maybe my eggs will clean up a little bit. But I'm gonna throw them some scratch, and I filled both feeders yesterday. Well, all 3 feeders yesterday, so they'll be fine till I get home tomorrow. And then I actually need to buy some more feed, and then I'll refill all of them. But anywho, let me turn y'all around. All right, so you got me wearing my yard hat, as I call it. It keeps the sun off of me and keeps the sprinkles off my glasses for the most part. So I've got a couple of these things, but this is the one that's most comfortable. It's light, it's got vents in the top. But I see a wasp hovering around my lawnmower. These things just will not find a new home somewhere else. Can't stand them. But I've already turned the gas off. That's my cutoff valve. Well, y'all are looking at me. But I got a cutoff valve. I turn the gas off of everything I own when I'm done with it. And if it's something like the tiller that I don't run very often, or hardly ever, I let it run out of gas. So that way it doesn't sit in that carburetor and gum them up. And I've never had a problem with them since I started doing that. So let me flip around. Can y'all see the leaves blowing on the peach tree and the blueberry bushes? Look how yellow the blueberry bushes are. I think that's from excessive rain, guys. Just too much water on them. But it's sprinkling again. I feel like it's gonna come another hard rain here in a few minutes, so I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna go in the house, and I need to make my tea. I usually make tea for the week, and that way I don't have to worry about it during the week, because y'all know that's what I drink, sweet tea, Louisiana sweet tea. And I don't drink alcohol. I don't do any kind of drugs or any of that. I smoke cigarettes and drink Louisiana sweet tea. And according to the doctor, both of them's gonna put me in the grave, so might as well enjoy it while I'm going. Oh my goodness. All right, well, I appreciate you guys watching. Oh my goodness, look at there. Let me walk over here and show y'all. It's sprinkling. I got to get out of the rain. Look at that. The rose bush put out another little rose. So it'll be blooming again. I see some new buds on the plant already. And there's another one there. So there's going to be new buds on this bush. I told y'all this bush, oh man, it's at least 10 years old. And it started out in some tires at the end of a raised bed on behind the chicken pen back there. And when I did away with all that, I put it in this big old pot, and it's been in this pot for 4 or 5 years. But it blooms multiple times a year, at least twice. So, all right, before I get flooded on, I'm gonna get out of here. I got to do something about these weeds though. But either way, I'm still pleased with the garden. I'm not a master gardener by any means, but I'm very pleased with it this year. I've grown a lot of food. I've given a lot to my sister. I've given a lot to my daughter, oldest one, and I've given some to my boss at work. I've given some to one of the guys that's on the safety ministry security team with me at church. It's more than I can use myself, and why not bless somebody else with it? So that's what I try to do. So if my garden can be a blessing to somebody else, the way prices are today, then I feel like that's what God would want me to do. But this little bird nest on top of the panel box that I showed y'all in one video, I see the little mama bird up there now. But y'all, those eggs have hatched. I've seen little babies poking their heads up, and she's staying on there more. Whoops, she just flew off. She's staying on there more than she did before because those babies have hatched. But I'll be glad when they're gone so I can do away with that nest and finish my sub panel there. So, guys, I appreciate y'all following along, subscribing to the channel, hitting the thumbs up, commenting, leaving me advice, helping me become a better gardener, and hopefully I can share that information with others and help somebody else along the way as well. So thank y'all very much. Remember what I've always told you. Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Y'all be safe, be prepared.